Oh, I meant nothing. Oh, yeah, yeah. Where do we hear all that before?
Bring pizza, hot dogs, ice cream, and more to your seat. Find out more at Eclipse Cinema.
And it's time to join our man at the movies, Collie McFadden, up there in the Eclipse Cinema in Bundoran. He sent me a list. The last time I seen a list this long, I was doing my leave insert. What's this about?
Well, let's hope this one's more successful. And what's funny about that is, I know I sent you this massive list of movies. So the last thing we want to do is talk about any other movies other than the list. So can I just say, after my operation, I caught up with Transformers 1, a good Transformers movie. Who would have thought it? And I also saw Saoirse Ronan in The Outrun. It's so good, and she's so brilliant in it. And if you get a chance to see it before it leaves cinemas, you should. Absolute brilliant. So they were out a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't get a chance to see them. So they're catch up. Now we'll get to
Okay,
this week's movies.
to this week's movies, and we start with what is expected to be a blockbuster, The Wild Robot.
Yes, this one we've seen trailered for a while, and I kind of heard some reports that this would be good. So, but some the early release reports are always good because there's always sort of cinema friendly people who will give a good review to. So I sat down to watch this movie yesterday. I actually was going to watch something else first, and I went, oh, okay, I suppose I'll watch the children's cartoon one first. And you can probably tell, you know me so well, Jamie. You can tell by my tone that I was absolutely blown away from it. This is not one of the children's movies of the year. This is one of the best movies of the year. It is
Oh,
absolutely brilliant. It is so clever. It's a story about Roz, who's this sort of helper robot. She's made for, to help people with their shopping, to help maybe elderly people with their care. All she lives to do is to serve. She wants to complete a task for you. But there's a storm and she's washed up on this island and she's accidentally activated. There's no humans live on the island. There's only animals, and it is nature red and tooth and claw. Animals are just there's a chain of who eats who, and it's savage, and she can't understand it at all. And she decides she's going to learn because all she wants is a task. And as it happens, there's an accident, and she falls on a nest and kills all these geese aside from one. And when the little gosling opens his eyes, he sees her and thinks she's the mammy,
I'm
and
filling
decides
up
to ra-
here already. I'm
and
filling up.
decides to raise it. I have to say, it's so lovely, it's so good, and it's about that. And again, maybe not the most original story when you hear that, but it's so well done. And what's going to be amazing about this, I'm going to see it all weekend. There's going to
Yeah.
be children who are delighted by this, right? They're going to be delighted by it. They're going to want the lunchbox and everything because the lovely story and the animals are so funny in it. However, the parents are going to be sitting behind them, holding in the sobs, biting their lips because there's another level about childhood, about duty, about how you raise children. But it's in subtext. It's not very obvious, and your little ones are probably not going to understand that layer of the movie. Like in the same way of Toy Story or Up, that there's a whole other movie going on for
Right.
different
Yeah.
levels. Or the better example is there was a movie by Pixar called Coco a while ago, which is as much about dementia as it was about a kid's adventure. And so
Yeah.
the kids love the adventure part, and every one of us were looking at the grandmother at the end and absolutely bawling our eyes out. This is just beautiful movie making at its best. It looks gorgeous. It's so clever. There's a lot of talking in it, but there's a lot of not talking in it. Like it's a lot of silent or action movies scenes, and it doesn't veer away from the fact that the fox wants to eat the goose eat the worms, the bears eat the other animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no mercy in the jungle. That's the idea of it. And this wild robot has to understand it. I absolutely adore this. And I think it'll be a slow burn because it's not as famous. It's a series of books, but of course, parents and stuff won't know it as well. But once the word of mouth gets around, when people get to see it this weekend, they're going to be telling everyone, hey Sham, I just saw that wild robot movie. You gotta bring the kids to it. You'll love it yourself. Absolutely adored it. It's going to be one of the movies of the year. I think it might even beat Inside Out 2 for the Oscar. That's high
Wow.
praise indeed.
Wow. That's high praise. Yeah. Now, when's that open?
That opens tomorrow. Oh,
Tomorrow.
today,
Okay.
today, it's Friday. I keep on forgetting it's Friday.
That's Friday. Yeah. You're a
It's
day
been
late
on over
today.
Thursday.
That's our
So
fault, I
everything's
suppose.
open from today.
Okay, okay. Now, yeah, we know Halloween is on the way because Smile 2 has arrived.
Yeah, well, I'll do the two horrors really quickly. So we've
Yeah.
Smile 2, which was a big infectious hit, pun kind of totally intended, about this disease that everyone appears to be smiling, and you know you're going to die in 7 days. It was a really big hit. Look, it's schlocky horror, perfect for this time of
Schlocky
year.
horror. That's a new
And
word.
speaking of, oh yeah, pun intended. And speaking of which, then we've got Terrifier 3 as well, which is going to be a weird big hit. Now, do you remember Sharknado? In that it was kind of made, I wouldn't say badly on purpose, but it was kind of tongue in cheek, sort of over the top horror movie. And it was went to a streamer for the first couple, and they became so popular. The third one
Yes.
ended up in the cinema. This is the same. This was really dodgy. A clown with a chainsaw running around killing everyone. And people loved the cheap made film so
Yeah.
much. It's now got a big budget screen. And even though it's now got money, it's still purposely kind of, a B grade movie. And people are absolutely loving it. It is very much 18s, but like it is like clown with teeth and chainsaw. If that's not your cup of tea, and it's definitely not yours, you will never see this movie. You never
Okay.
should. But people are
Let's
going
get
to
on to
love it
something.
this
That's something
Halloween.
I'm more interested in.
Yeah.
Right. The Apprentice has arrived.
Yeah, and I know what you're thinking. Surely we've seen enough of Donald Trump on our screens, right? Well, maybe so. But if you ever wondered how we got here, this movie kind of gives us a bit of a clue.
The first rule is the simplest: attack, attack, attack.
It's going to be the finest building in the country, in the world. It's going to be spectacular.
Rule 2, admit nothing, deny everything.
You think you can beat the U.S. government?
Rule 3, no matter what happens, you claim victory and never admit defeat.
I record everything in case I need it.
Well, that's illegal.
You have to be willing to do anything to anyone to win.
Oh, admit nothing. Oh, yeah, yeah. Where do we hear all that before?
Well, that's the thing. And, we meet Donald Trump in the early 70s, where he's just kind of a low-grade property developer with some dreams, but really doesn't know how to go about things. And they're kind of looking at him going, oh, yeah, you're Fred Trump's son. Yeah, kind of, a two-bit property guy in, if you remember, New York at the time was particularly rough. It wasn't glamorous, that the area that he was going to develop. And he meets this guy called Roy Cohn, real character, who was this tough lawyer, who was famous for all of those principles that we've heard repeated and repeated so much. Now, this was based on a book, and it has to be said, it's very much their opinion on Donald Trump. And, one has to be fair, even though I'd say most people share my opinion of him, but one has to be fair about it. However, one thing I would say is these are very litigious people, and nobody has sued the book and nobody has sued the film. Which might say a whole lot, because if it was in court, certain conversations might have to be revealed. And it is about the whole approach, and a lot of it was post-Watergate, Nixon. A lot of people who were involved at that time thought if Nixon hadn't said sorry, he wouldn't have had to resign. He should have just said, I didn't do it, and just bluffed his way through. He'd already won the election. He should have just bluffed his way through, and they would have backed him. And we've seen this again and again in the last 8 years. It's pretty amazing. And this is how he became the Donald Trump we see on our telly from this two-bit property thing. Very interesting movie. Won't change anyone's mind no matter what, but I really enjoyed it today. Very interesting.
Is that opening tonight?
That opening tonight.
It is indeed. Right.
Go toilets everywhere.
Okay, we're down to a minute. We got Paddington Day coming up.
So a special deal on Paddington, where it's still just €5, but they're showing 6 minutes of the new film before each one. So here's a chance to see Paddington. I was saying about the Wild Robot, the Paddington 3 is going to give it a competition, but it's a big treat, and there's free stickers and stuff like that. It's very cute.
Okay. Hocus Pocus.
Hocus
Must be
Pocus,
Halloween.
it's Halloween. Hocus Pocus is back. It's always popular. I was never a fan as a kid, but people love going to see it in the cinema, and it's one of those free cookie and ice cream ones.
Okay, missed it Monday. Quickly, you're bringing back Lee. This looks
which
like
I
a
didn't see.
terrific movie.
That's when I was out when I got my operation. I'm really looking forward to it. Kate Winslet as a war photographer. Chance to see it again for a $5. I'm certainly going to be there on Monday. Looking forward to it.
Okay, right. That is Collie on Movies. Till next Thursday, we'll be back to our regular spot. Enjoy the movies. That's Eclipse Cinemas in Bundoran.
Thank you very much. Bye.